Good evening once more. Thank you so much for finding time to join us on this edition of April Primetime News. Welcome to the program. Now, the Council of Governors now wants to meet with President Uhuru Kenyatta over the power vacuum that could hit the Nairobi County government following the arrest of Governor Mike Sonko. The county chiefs, however, steered clear from defending one of their own, even as President Uhuru Kenyatta maintained that everyone should carry their own cross.
In a statement on Sunday, the COG chairperson Wycliffe Oparanya said the council is monitoring and consulting widely on the unfolding situation in Nairobi County, and also acknowledged the unique state of affairs in the city county, adding that the council is set to reach out to the president for an emergency meeting. It, however, remains unclear if President Kenyatta will honor the request, given these sentiments he made earlier on Sunday.
Wakati ulikuwa unafanya mambo ya ufisadi, hukuwa na familia, hukuwa na jamii, hukuwa na kanisa, uliiba peke yako. Beba msalaba peke yako. Usiingize mambo mengi.
And unlike in the past, where the council defended its own, the statement did not put up a case for embattled Mike Sonko. This in sharp contrast as in 2018, when Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong was questioned over 20 million shilling fraud allegations. The council said devolution was under threat.
It is mischievous to call the media and publicly arrest a governor so that the public can forget about the rot in national government ministries, departments, and agencies. This fight cannot be politicized and cannot be used selectively to target specific officers. Governors are heads of government, and the war on corruption cannot be used to embarrass them.
Sonko's possible prosecution might bring with it unexplored legal options, owing to the precedents set by High Court Judge Justice Mumbi Ngugi, barring charged governors from accessing their offices, a situation which could also play out in John Lonyangapo's West Pokot County, which has been without a substantive deputy for years now. If a vacancy occurs in the office of the county governor and that of the deputy, or if the deputy county governor is unable to act, the Speaker of the County Assembly, in this case Beatrice Elachi, shall take up the role according to Article 182 of the Constitution, sub-Article 4. The question, however, remains is will Elachi ascend to the position of acting governor, given the hostile situation she finds herself in after being impeached by majority of Nairobi MCAs and reinstated by the court.
Now, leaders attending the Ethics International Day celebrated in Makueni have called upon government officers to ensure that government funds are facilities are well protected. The chairman of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Archbishop Eliud Wabukala, says that the fight against corruption isn't ending soon and that this is just the beginning.
The fight on graft is not just lip service. This is according to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Chair, Bishop Eliud Wabukala. And even though the commission was recently left with an egg on its face after former Attorney General Amuswako was barred from accessing the United States of alleged involvement in graft, Wabukala says the commission has a colorful CV.
We have recovered corruptly acquired assets valued at approximately 4.5 billion. That's 1 year.
ICT Cabinet Secretary John Musheru says the government's aim was to digitize all services as a means to combating corruption.
Mtukufu Rais amesema na hiyo ni kazi amenipatia, lazima to digitize serikali yote. Na tulianza na kila Mkenya. Si mmesikia huduma namba?
Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana says that all wealth declaration forms should be made public for scrutiny as he urges the president to ensure that all government services are digitized.
Even those laws could be put together, the subsidiary laws in one law, one major law, so that we know that this is the law apart from the constitution which we refer to kipigana na corruption.
The leaders were speaking today to commemorate the International Anti-Corruption Day in Makueni County. Reporting for Ebro TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Still on that corruption note, 35% of Kenyans believe that corruption cases at the Kenya Wildlife Service have increased compared to the last 2 years. That is according to the latest survey report released during the International Anti-Corruption Day that was graced by Tourism CS Najib Balala, who also championed for a change of the revenue collection system at the KWS services. Our reporter Milia Kisenya has more.
As the world marks the International Anti-Corruption Day, Kenya has joined in with the aim of raising awareness about corruption and the role of fighting and preventing corruption. Towards that stretch, the Kenya Wildlife Service released a survey report that ascertained at least 35% of Kenyans believe that corruption at the department has increased over the years.
When you have a manual system and park entry fees in your parks, where somebody can just give you a $10 or $100 and you write a paper receipt and maybe there's a forgery, or if a visitor comes to Nairobi National Parks and it takes that visitor 1 hour to enter into the park because of bureaucracy, then there is a problem.
Attending the launch as a chief guest, Tourism CS Najib Balala was also quick to point out on the failed and poor revenue management that for years has remained a challenge for local and international tourists.
Your human resource must be changed. You cannot employ people casual for 10 years. You must decide either they're casual or they're permanent.
In the report, KWS has also cited to have high levels of corruption cases in the management and has not changed in the past 2 years. According to the respondents, management and the Board of Trustees is key determinant of corruption trends. The chairman of the Board of Trustees, John Waithaka, however, had this to say.
And as the board, I want to assure you that we will work very hard to ensure that 2 years from now, if the same thing is conducted, we will get some very different results.
The launch of the event was attended by key dignitaries including UNODC and the European Union, that was also spearheading for the end of corruption in different countries in the world. Earlier this year, President Uhuru Kenyatta summoned the Board of Trustees at the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that it serves its mandate in solving the human-wildlife conflicts, including addressing cases of corruption. Milia Kisenya for Ebru TV.
Well, moving on now, the second suspect in the murder of Joyce Siombua and her 2 children will be detained for 10 days pending investigations into the murder. This comes even as Major Peter Mugure, the main suspect in the murder case, has also remained in custody at the Kingongo Maximum Prison.
As the family of Joyce Siombua broke down, unable to control the pain of losing their loved ones when they laid them to rest on Saturday, the family seeks justice for their loved ones as the second suspect was arraigned today in court. Collins Pamba, the second suspect in the murder of Joyce Siombua and her 2 children, will remain at the hands of police officers for the next 10 days at the Kerugoya GK prison. The suspect is to take plea on December 19th. Major Peter Mugure, the main suspect in the murder case, will remain also in police custody at Kigongo Maximum Prison. This was after State Counsel Peter Maranyi urged that he be remanded for a week. The prosecution told the court that Mugure is yet to undergo mental assessment. It had been scheduled to take place at Nyanyuki General Hospital. Maranyi insisted that the suspect cannot be released, even as lawyer Cliff Ombeta argued that his client's constitutional rights were being violated. However, Nyeri High Court Judge Justice Jarus Nga said there was no compelling reasons to deny the prosecution's request. The judge deferred his plea taking for 2 weeks and ordered that Mugure be taken to a psychiatric test at the Nyeri Referral Hospital. The new date for plea taking is December 17th. Major Mugure is accused of killing his estranged partner Siombua and their 2 children. The bodies of the deceased were discovered on November 16th, buried in a shallow grave at the Ngidu Estate in Nyanyuki. This was 3 weeks after they were reported missing. They had left their home in Nairobi to go visit Major Mugure at the Laikipia Army Air Base. Postmortem results showed that Ms. Siombua died as a result of multiple blows to the head, while her 2 children were strangled. Abdiaziz Hashimi, Brew TV.
Now back to our top story. Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko and other suspects implicated in 357 million shillings graft case will continue being guests of the remand prison pending ruling of their bail applications. The prosecution wants Sonko denied bail with claims that he has pending cases after he allegedly escaped from the Shimo La Tewa maximum prison. The defense, on the other hand, argues that their client was cleared from all the agencies and has no criminal records. Our reporter Jeff Haemba with more details.
Mike Sonko, the flamboyant and the controversial governor, led a team of the suspects at the Milimani locals to face the charges. Mike Sonko, who had spent 3 nights at the EACC police station, appeared before Justice Douglas Ogoti for the plea taking with the several charges being leveled against him. The prosecution, led by James Kiaro, opposed the release of Governor Mike Sonko on bail on grounds that he is at flight risk and is likely to abscond the court, intimidate the witness, and also interfere with the investigation.
Particulars of the offense is on or about 19 January.
But a group of Sonko lawyers led by Cecil Miller opposed the prosecution request, saying bail is a constitutional right. The DPP also wants the governor denied the bail, with the claims he has other pending criminal records ranging from the Shimo La Tewa maximum prison. Cecily Miller, on the other hand, says his client cleared from all the relevant agencies.
On 12 March 1998, first accused was convicted for failure to appear in court at Shimo La Tewa maximum security prison. He sought treatment at the Coast Provincial General Hospital. However, Your Honor, the first accused escaped from lawful custody.
Charged an extra of Wycliffe Ogalo, Commissioner General of Prison, that has come from the prosecution. It says, the prisoner was discharged from this institution in 2001. The institution, however, does not know how his escape case was disposed of by CMC Court Mombasa, and also how other cases were disposed of by CMC Court Nairobi, as well as courts in Kibera. And that begs the next question, Your Honor.
The prosecution further sought the orders barring Sonko and other public officers from accessing their offices, pending hearing and the determination of their case. However, Mike Sonko, through his lawyer Harrison Kinyanjui, says Justice Mumbengugi's ruling over Samburu Governor Mwazalena Kulal was misinterpreted.
That the first accused, being the governor of the Nairobi City County, together with the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth accused persons, being public officers, be barred from accessing the offices of the county government.
The court said that the Honorable Governor should access the office after notifying the EACC. Now, that is different from being barred.
The Nairobi governor and the 11 others were charged with several counts of corruption relating to the irregular payment of 357 million Kenyan shillings. They all denied the charges. Governor Mike Sonko's lawyers also pleaded with the court to allow him access medical attention, claiming that he was injured during the arrest. The Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti directed that Sonko's admission to hospital be approved by the Prison Medical Center. After spending 3 good days at the Integrity Police Station, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko will now be transferred to the Industrial Maximum Prison, awaiting for his ruling on the bail application. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Haemba.
Well, thanks, Jeff, for that. Now, the search and rescue operations at a building that collapsed in Tasia has officially ended. So far, 10 people have been confirmed dead, 6 are at Kenyatta National Referral Hospital, and 30 are hosted in a temporary shelter. This comes even as the residents demand the owner of the building, who is allegedly well known to big people in the society, be arrested.
Speaking in confidence to reporters at the scene, one police officer said efforts to arrest the owner of the building that collapsed might be difficult. Without revealing the identity of the owner, the officer said, and I quote, "The woman who owns this building and tens of others around the city is well known to the high and mighty. There is no office in this land which doesn't get into." End of quote. The building was allegedly in a risky shape months before the tragedy, and the officer and the residents wondered why tenants continued living in the houses.
Hii nyumba hata kama imeanguka ilikuwa imecrack. Sasa venye ile crack watu walichukulia tu ni mchezo ile ya kawaida, wanaonanga sina crack na sina isianguki. Sasa mimi venye nimekaa hiyo nyumba imecrack tu, watu wakaama, ikabaki mafakanti mingi. Sasa watu wenye wanatoka hizo za mbali huko wanakuja huko. Watu wakitoka huko wanakuja huko. Sasa sisi tunashinda. Ukiingia hapo ni vacant. Aya, hiyo plot ilikuwanga wanalipishanga mpaka wanachukua deposit. Ikafika haina deposit. Ilikuwa 35 imerudishwa imeenda 30. Sasa tukashinda kwani plot mbona hata mimi nilikuwa nataka niamiange huko. Lakini nikasema hapana, hii plot ilikuwanga chafu sana. Siwezi enda huko.
A two-story mabati structure that was adjacent to the building was pulled down during the operations, while those living in neighboring houses ordered to vacate. The Association of Construction Managers of Kenya blamed the tragedy on corrupt government agencies. Its chairman, National Kowa, said the National Building Inspectorate should make public a report on unsafe buildings in the city. Okowa added that the National Construction Authority should take responsibility for the collapse of the buildings across the country. This comes after President Uhuru Kenyatta commissioned the National Buildings Inspectorate to do a report on the state of buildings in Nairobi 2 years ago. The poor response to recent tragedies in the country, including the recent West Pokot tragedy, has been heavily criticized. The building collapsed on Friday morning at 8 a.m. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Now back to the corridors of justice. The parents of Joseph Irungu, alias Joey, a suspect in the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani, are jittery following his alleged transfer from Committee Maximum Security Prison to Manyani Maximum Prison. Joey's family claims they were informed of the transfer late Friday and had to wait until today to visit their son at the Manyani Maximum Prison. Joey's lawyer, Professor Hassan Nandwa, told a local daily that he had not filed any application for his transfer from Nairobi to the Taita Taveta County Prison. The suspect is set to spend the second Christmas in remand pending a ruling on his bail application next year. Justice James Wakiaga on November 28 this year directed that Joey remain in custody until February 13th next year, when a ruling on his bail application will be made. Now, 2 more people have been killed by floods in Kisumu County, bringing the number of people who have so far died in the county to 4. Elsewhere, 12 homes sank at Ndiara village in Kiharu, Murang'a County, following heavy rains that have continued to pound the area.
A 50-year-old man died in Ombaka area of Nyando sub-county after reportedly being swept by raging floods, while a sand harvester in Nyamasaria, Kisumu East, died as he was harvesting sand in the river, which had swollen to dangerous levels. The death toll in the region has now risen to 4 after 2 women were reported dead in Seme sub-county. Kisumu flood victims have pitched camp in 18 designated evacuation centers as more households lose their homes to floods. Close to 1,000 families in the county are reported to be affected by the floods. Elsewhere, 12 homes have sunk at Ndiara village in Kiharu, Murang'a County, following heavy rains experienced in the region. The heavy rains that will not end till the end of the month continues to be a nuisance to many Kenyans. The rains have destroyed homes, farms, but most importantly, it has significantly affected the roads. This being a holiday, most Kenyans are traveling to their rural homes, but the landslides experienced in different parts of the country has caused a traffic snarl-up. Over the past 3 months, most parts of the country have received heavy rainfall that has left more than 132 people dead and thousands displaced. Floods, lightning strikes and landslides have been witnessed in various parts of the country, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, issued an advisory to motorists to be wary of the slippery roads. Abdiaziz Hashimi, Brew TV.
Still on that weather beat, the Kenya Meteorological Department has said that contrary to information being spread on social media, Cyclone Belna is not headed for the Kenyan coast. The Met Department says that it is moving southwards towards northwestern Madagascar. Belna is currently influencing the weather over Kenya indirectly by creating favorable conditions for heavy rainfall in the southern parts of Kenya. According to the weatherman, tropical cyclones do not form within 5 degrees north and 5 degrees south of the equator, and therefore Cyclone Belna cannot hit Kenya but will strongly impact the weather conditions. President Uhuru Kenyatta has outlined 6 key focus areas that need revamping in order to jumpstart industrial transformation of the African, Caribbean and Pacific member countries. The president, who formally took over as the chair of the summit, said the bloc's member nations are endowed with immense resources, which, if properly exploited, will help hasten the attainment of their development targets.
The president cited human resource, agricultural industrialization, entrepreneurship, and the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises, as well as improved regulatory and institutional frameworks, are areas that ACP nations need to focus in order to grow their economies.
Achieve sustainable development, reduce poverty within our member states, deepen ACP trade and development cooperation with the European Union, and achieve greater integration into the world economy.
Sector, because I am a strong and firm believer that the state has to be an entrepreneur in our part of the world, because unless the state opens up certain activities where the private sector is extremely risk averse, it will not happen.
Other areas identified include the creation of an environment that supports innovation and technology transfer, and that which promotes private sector-led industrial development. The bloc's population, over 1 billion people, who are largely the youth under the age of 35, as the engine that can drive industrial revolution of the country's economy if equipped with the right skills.
The theme of our 9th ACP Summit, a transformed ACP committed to multilateralism, resonates very well with Kenya's own national transformative agenda, as well as the United Nations 2030 agenda for sustainable development.
In Jamaica, for example, we have been investing heavily in infrastructure. And it's always a puzzle to me because China has taken a specific interest. The European countries have taken a specific interest, but we have not yet had an African country taking a specific interest in very profitable infrastructure investments in Jamaica.
Kenya has been able to improve its ranking in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index from position 136 in 2014 to position 56 in the latest ranking by working closely with the private sector.
And ensure that the group remains united, vibrant and relevant, and that it continues to serve our collective interests. And we are all very proud of our solidarity and our growing capability to support South-South as well as North-South cooperation.
Namibian President and Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness called on a total war on corruption, saying graft was a big impediment in the economic takeoff of ACP countries. Abdiaziz Hashimi, Brew TV.
Now, it is a reprieve for women who keep forgetting to take their daily oral contraceptive pills, as scientists have now developed a once-a-month oral contraceptive pill, which increases women's choices in exercising control over their fertility. Here's our very own Busara Naman with more.
According to Dr. Giovanni Travasso from Harvard Medical School, who developed the prototype with colleagues at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the pill is big to immediately exit the stomach and will remain there for weeks until it has finished its job and can be broken down and be excreted from the body. Several women get unplanned pregnancies because they forget to take their everyday pills. Oral pills currently available in the Kenyan market are the conventional pills or the combined oral contraceptives. Some of the women we have talked to prefer the once-a-month pill compared to taking a pill a day.
Mi naona itawasaidia kwa sababu most of the time wamama wamekuwa wakimeza on a daily basis na wanasahau. Wanaposahau hivyo inakuwa tayari wameshika mimba na inakuwa big disappointment kwa mama. Yeah.
Ukiangalia pia vile nchi imekuwa watu wako wengi, economy iko high. So ile kitu iko itawasaidia kwa kulea watoto vizuri na kuwapanga.
Okay, kwa sasa naenda natural. Sijaijaribu hiyo, lakini nikijaribu ndio at least naweza sema naweza gopa juu ya side effects zake, lakini kwa sasa siwezi nikasema. Umejua mtu kishatumia kitu ndio unajua madhara yake na uzuri wake. Yeah.
Researchers say that once swallowed, the pill remains in the stomach for weeks while slowly releasing hormones to prevent pregnancy. It is designed to resist immediate attack by stomach acids. The findings published in the Science Translational Medicine Journal suggest that the prototype is a star-shaped drug delivery system packaged into an easy-to-swallow dissolvable capsule, not bigger than a regular fish oil tablet. And when we asked the men about supporting the women with family planning, this is what they had to say.
Kwa hivyo paka lazima ufanye mnakani, ufikirie, ndio ufanye mnakani, ukatwe au akuwa anapata dawa, yani akuwa na chikinga na dawa kwa masiku kwa kadhaa, miaka kadhaa. Si ati akate hiyo sehemu, kwa sababu atakata hiyo sehemu na Mungu na ujui mambo ya Mungu au ujui mambo ingine. Utakata na hao watu wote wakufe.
Hiyo kwanza.
Ngoja kwanza unaweza kubali kumsaidia mke wako kama njia ya kupanga uzazi.
Hiyo kwanza, hiyo mimi nimesema la. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Sababu mimi sijafika kiwango kukata hivyo. Mpaka kwanza nikuwe na watoto wawili, watatu hivi, at least ndio mimi nitakata baada.
Sasa hiyo kuna watoto ngapi? Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
Time now for a very short break. When you come back, more stories that made headlines today. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Residents of Free Area Estate in Nakuru are up in arms against a contractor constructing a drainage system in the area, terming it as an incompetent job. According to the residents, the drainage system is now directing rainwater to their houses, which has left several families homeless.
The development comes a night after water from the drainage channels demolished 2 semi-permanent houses, leaving 2 families homeless and counting losses. Residents are accusing the contractor of setting up the 1-kilometer drainage and later abandoning the construction works, which has endangered their lives with the ongoing torrential rains.
Leo siku ya leo choo ikianguka hao watu watanilipa. Ni kwa sababu choo leo itaanguka leo. Hata mkienda saa hizi choo yangu ikuanguka inaanguka kwa sababu wameelekesha maji yote ikaingia katika ploti.
The apprehensive residents say they will not allow the contractor to continue with further construction works until he fixes the drainage system along the 163 million shillings World Bank funded road. Nakuru East Member of Parliament David Gikaria faulted the contractor and the area roads and construction authorities for putting the lives of over 200 families at risk by flouting basic construction procedures enshrined in the law.
County government yetu ndio wakuje wakubali sababu umesikia kazi imepeana 163 million to do only 1.5 kilometers over drainage. 163 million. Walikubali aje mtaro ianze upande wa juu bila kupatiwa idhini na KWS.
The legislator says authorities overseeing the construction works on the road funded under the Kenya Support Program did not consult the Kenya Wildlife Service that manages Lake Nakuru National Park, where storm and wastewater from the road is to be channeled.
Tukakuta mama nyumba zake zote 22 watu wamehama. kwa sababu maji, vile unasikia dada yetu akisema, wamefunga maji, hawashughuliki kuweka mitaro kwenye itapita ikipeleka maji. Wamekuja, nyumba zote zimeingia maji, wapangaji wameondoka.
The wildlife facility has declined to permit the contractor to divert wastewater to the park. The impasse has led to a halt in the construction of the drainage system, a move that has prompted fear among residents. However, Nakuru Assistant Roads Engineer Nicholas Keter says the Regional Roads Engineer's Office is still awaiting approval to direct stormwater to the park.
Now, Kenya's remote island of Lamu, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is under threat, say activists. Authorities are constructing major projects on the mainland, including a port, an oil pipeline and transport links. While the infrastructure is likely to boost the local economy, some Lamu residents worry that the development and a flood of outsiders will affect the local culture and architecture, which some say is already falling apart.
The remoteness of Kenya's Lamu Island has helped maintain its 650-year-old Swahili culture and traditions. Cars are banned in Lamu town, a UN World Heritage Site, so donkeys are the main mode of transport. But some locals worry construction of a new port, oil pipeline and transport links on the mainland will bring more outsiders to settle in Lamu and change the unique culture.
We are trying our best to prevent that kind of intervention or sort of the kind of new development so that we can preserve the Lamu.
Authorities say the $26 billion group of projects will improve economic links between Kenya, South Sudan and Ethiopia and create thousands of jobs. But a Kenyan court in June halted construction of a coal-fired power plant that was to help fuel the projects, encouraging opponents.
We as Lamu people are afraid because when people come from other areas, they come with many things. Their own language, their own culture, their own way of living. And this might alter the cultural way that people have been living.
Fishermen who are concerned about the impact on their catch oppose the port construction.
How they have done outside is terrible. To break all the rock where we supposed to go to fishing, we cannot anymore. So when the time of the season is finished, it's the rain season, you can't go anywhere to fishing now.
Activists worry the projects could also thwart efforts to preserve Lamu town and its unique character. More than a third of Lamu's historic buildings are already falling apart, says the National Museums of Kenya.
Some of the owners do not want to any kind of intervention. They think perhaps by putting money into their building, perhaps you are actually owning it, you are taking over that particular building. So it's a very complex kind of thing.
Lamu authorities vow they will protect the island's world heritage from the projects.
We have also put measures to ensure that the LAPSET activities will remain on the mainland of Lamu, that is Hindi area, Mokowe and the likes. And that's the Lamu archipelago, that is Lamu Island, starting from Shela all the way to Kipungani, remains with its status of heritage.
Lamu authorities say they are organizing funds to help renovate historic buildings and develop the economy with tourism as a major pillar. At the risk of commercializing their culture, some argue bringing in more tourists may actually help keep Lamu's unique traditions alive. Commandant for VOA News, Lamu, Kenya.
Across our borders now, the FBI says it has yet to determine the motive for the Pensacola shooting spree in which 3 people were killed, although the agency says that it is investigating the shooting as an act of terrorism. Yesterday, the FBI confirmed that the shooter was 21-year-old Saudi Air Force officer Mohammed Al-Shamrani, who was a student at the Naval Aviation School.
3 Naval Academy students were killed and 8 other people were injured after Al-Shamrani opened fire Friday morning at the Naval Air Academy in Pensacola. Officials say the 3 were killed while trying to stop the shooter and that their action saved lives of many others. The FBI said Sunday the investigators are still working to determine the shooter's motive.
While there are many reports circulating regarding the shooter's motivation and his alleged activities leading to his attack, I can tell you that we are looking very hard at uncovering his motive, and I would ask for patience so we can get this right.
Investigators also are trying to determine if the Saudi officer acted alone or as part of a terrorist plot.
We are, as we do in most active shooter investigations, work with the presumption that this was an act of terrorism. This allows us to take advantage of investigative techniques that can help us more quickly identify and then eliminate any additional potential threats to the rest of our community.
The FBI thanked the Saudi government for its pledge of full and complete cooperation. U.S. President Donald Trump said Friday that King Salman of Saudi Arabia had called him to express his condolences.
The king said that the Saudi people are greatly angered by the barbaric actions of the shooter, and that this person in no way, shape, or form represents the feelings of the Saudi people who love the American people so much.
News media reported that the shooter, who was also killed in the incident, had hosted a dinner party days before the shooting where he showed videos of mass shootings to his guests. He also visited New York City recently. No arrests have been made in the case, but several Saudi students who knew al-Shamrani have been restricted to the base by their commanding officer and are cooperating with investigators. The shooting at the Pensacola Naval Air Station is the second deadly shooting at a U.S. naval facility this week. A U.S. sailor shot 3 civilians at a base in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, Wednesday, killing 2 of them before committing suicide. Acting Secretary of Defense Mark Esper said he had ordered a review of the Department of Defense's security and vetting policies. Larissa Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, quite sad there. Now, that report crosses us over to the world of business. A new study has shown that more than 4.78 million people hold accounts in 174 licensed deposit-taking savings and credit cooperatives in Kenya, with male customers dominating the sector. Have a look.
In the study, women constitute 34.2%, while male counterparts take more than 60% of members of the sector.
Men, allow your sisters some space in the boards of Saccos. But ladies, I challenge you, go out there and fight for it also. Don't also just only wait to be given. But men must allow their sisters a space in the boards of Saccos.
The Sacco subsector demographic study report 2019 has raised questions as over the 5.12% of members in various Saccos whose identities and age brackets have not been revealed. In the study conducted by Sacco Society's Regulatory Authority, male domination in the Saccos is not consistent with the national population demographics, in which female gender has been reported to be slightly more than the male gender. The research indicated that farmers-based Saccos dominate the total number of registered Saccos in the country, with 50 different Saccos comprising of 47.81% of total Saccos. According to Principal Secretary for Cooperatives Ali Ismail, in order to retain the safety of members' money, a fraud investigative unit will be established to curb cyber fraud that is experienced even in other sectors.
We have seen it fit, and government has seen it as part of the policy initiatives, that we have this unit which this sector does not have, but which other financial regulators have actually been having. In fact, now we're in active discussions with DCI through the Office of CS Interior to have those officers seconded, and that process is actively ongoing, and once it is ready, CS will actually launch it officially.
Although the core business of all Saccos is to mobilize savings and provision of credit to their members, the report has revealed that Farmers' Saccos had 3 times more members than the 43 teachers-based Saccos and the 35 government Saccos. The findings imply majority of members of farmers-based Saccos make very little savings and equally receive minimal amounts in credit facilities than members of teachers and government-based Saccos.
Now, plastics represent one of the biggest challenges for most cities around the world. Many will agree that even though it is a threat to the environment, plastics have many valuable uses. I beg your pardon. Look around you. Do you see any plastic material? Most definitely. This is because we have become addicted to single-use or disposable plastics. But which way to go? Let's find out which way big makers are taking.
It's clear single use of plastics around the world has and continues to pose threats to the environment, not forgetting we are the occupants of the same environment. The single use of plastics has become part of our daily lives. Plastic pens, plastic straws, the cup on your desk or home kitchen, the water bottle, cutlery, dispensing containers, biscuit trays, shampoo bottles, microwave dishes, the list is endless. Researchers estimate that more than 8.3 billion tons of plastics has been produced since the early 1950s. About 60% of the plastic has ended up in a landfill or the natural environment. Here in Kenya, we find Dandora landfill, Nairobi's main dumping ground. More than 2,000 metric tons of waste is received from the capital city's 4.5 million residents. Experts say in order to tackle plastics, the road ahead is to focus on innovation of alternate materials. In line with this, big makers and users of plastic packaging are betting on a recycling technology that has failed for decades to take off. As a public backlash and new rules to push them to find ways to cut waste and greenhouse gas emissions tied to plastics. This method is referred to as chemical recycling. Is it the solution? The process is defined as any process by which a polymer is chemically reduced to its original form so that it can eventually be processed and remade into new plastic materials that go on to be new plastic products. According to technologists, the promise of chemical recycling has existed for decades, but high costs and lack of demand made it financially unviable. In Germany alone, 2.5 million tons of plastic packages land in the yellow trash can. German households pre-sort their garbage into 4 separate trash cans: yellow for plastics, brown for compost, blue for paper, and black for non-recyclables. Since the various plastics are very difficult to separate from one another, most of the material is utilized for energy. Millions of dollars are being invested by the big companies in the world to see viability of this process. Dating back to the 1950s to the 70s, plastic waste was relatively manageable. By 1990s, plastic waste generation had more than tripled following a rise in plastic production. In early 2000s, plastic waste rose more than previously in over 40 years. A staggering 8 million tons of plastic end up in the world's oceans every year. How does it get there? A lot of it comes from the world's rivers, which serve as direct conduits of trash from the world's cities to the marine environment. A report by the UN Environment says that despite these challenges, there is hope. The world is slowly waking up to the problem. In their report, certain things can be done, starting by running public awareness, offering incentives for recycling, to introducing levies or banning certain products outright. The government's now being called upon to act, and act swiftly. Wanjiro Maina, Ebru TV Business.
Well, that's it on the 9th day of December 2019, the day Nairobi City County Governor Mike Sonko was charged with graft, and also the day the EACC chair, that is Archbishop Eliud Wabukala, praised the EACC for what he says is a job well done by the commission. Thank you so much for watching Ebru Primetime News on this day, and that is on behalf of everyone who made this a success. My name is Mnene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Joyce Wairimu. Keep safe.